This is what I want the Knicks to do. I don't think the Knicks will do this, but again, this is my channel, so I'm going to talk about what I personally would want, and that's going to be Johnny Bryant. Now, there was a report from Ian Begley that's very interesting. He says, quote, "If you connect the dots, it's easy to wonder if the Knicks timed the firing of Thibodeau in a way that would allow them to hire Bryant. And talking to people in touch with the team on Tuesday, I don't think the two events were tied together," unquote. I completely agree. I don't think you would have needed a source to know that. It's just an interesting thought of, oh, well, Tibbs is gone, Bryant's available, and it just seems too easy. I think what happened was the Knicks just were sick of Tibbs, of course, and they thought he got out coached, and they don't think he's going to be able to win a championship. So they decided to let him go, and then just it was coincidentally that Bryant ended up being available and didn't get the Phoenix Suns head coaching job. And now all of a sudden, you got a 39-year-old coach who that's very young. I mean, Tibbs is what, in his mid-60s? So you got someone who's 25 years younger, who was under Tibbs for 4 years or whatever as an assistant, goes to the Cavs as a lead assistant, one and done, and now he's a finalist for the Phoenix Suns head coaching job. The Knicks should bring him in because the front office absolutely loves Johnny Bryant. Jalen Brunson absolutely loves him. And here's a quote as well that kind of explains that. So, quote, "Bryant has the stamp of approval from the current front office. When he first joined the Knicks 5 years ago, it was Executive Vice President William Wesley who pushed Bryant's hire," end quote. Bryant still has strong connections to players New York's roster from when he was on their staff, which we saw whenever the team played against the Cavaliers. He is also represented by CAA, which has long-standing ties to the Knicks in front office executive Leon Rose. Basically, the point is that Johnny Bryant, everything sort of leads to him being the new Knicks coach. I don't think that the Knicks will fire Tibbs to go to Johnny Bryant. I just really don't feel like they've got something bigger in play. And one other coach that I want to talk about, I don't see any sort of world where Michael Malone comes in here. At first glance, I was thinking him. But what about Jay Wright, former Villanova head coach? I mean, he was with Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, and Josh Hart, of course. I mean, he won 2 national titles in 2016 and 2018. I do think that Jay Wright would be interesting because, of course, he won 2 national championships with Villanova in 2016 and 18. But it just seems like too much Villanova. Brunson, Bridges, Hart, and now Jay Wright. I mean, to that point, you might as well go and trade for Dante DiVincenzo and just have the entire team and then go out there and get, why am I blanking on his name? Ryan Arcidiacono, right? I completely butchered that. But, I mean, let's just go get the whole Villanova Knicks at that point. I don't see a world where Jay Wright comes out of retirement. So a report came out yesterday, according to Mark Stein, that the Knicks are expected to pursue Jason Kidd as their next head coach. Quote, "2 head coaches who are not currently available but said to interest the Knicks, according to league sources, are Dallas's Jason Kidd and Houston's Ime Udoka," end quote. When you look at those 2 coaches, Jason Kidd played for the Knicks back in 2012-13, and that was my favorite Knicks team of all time, even more than this team, even more than last year's team. It wasn't as good, obviously, but Jason Kidd was a floor general. He was a leader. He also knocked down some clutch shots. And we're talking about one of the best two-way point guards, facilitators, defenders of all time. And if the Knicks could get their hands on Jason Kidd, well, we already know that Brunson broke out under him. The reason why Brunson became a Knick and got that $104 million contract is because of Jason Kidd. And Brunson actually credited Kidd a lot for that. He said, quote, "I think the relationship me and Jay Kidd have is very unique." Brunson said, "The first thing he told me when I met him, he says, 'What do you want to achieve?' I told him I want to contribute as best I can, yada, yada, yada. He said, 'No, we've got to get you paid.' That's what he said. His first thing, I mean, he did that," end quote. Now, this was back in 2022, so I'm not going to act like it was like a couple of days ago. But the point being is that Jason Kidd helped Jalen Brunson get paid and become a star. And if he comes to the Knicks, I mean, that's only going to continue. Brunson's now since become a superstar, but I think there's another level that he can achieve. I think Jalen Brunson can get to an MVP type of level. Statistically, I think his scoring is going to go down. His assists might even go down, but his efficiency, his defense, those are the things that we want to keep an eye on, his plus and minus, and just being more of a team player, of course, and letting other guys get the ball and not doing as much isolation, one-on-one ball. We haven't seen any guard be able to go one-on-one and win a championship. Harden didn't do it. Iverson didn't do it. Steph Curry is obviously moving off of screens constantly, doesn't take a lot of contact. And Brunson, man, I mean, if the Knicks had the perfect team around him, right? Like Isaiah Hartenstein was still here, Dante, and then yeah, but I mean, unfortunately, the salary cap exists, and the Knicks were not able to bring back Isaiah, which is foolish because a lot of people on TV seem to think that the Knicks just didn't want to pay Isaiah. They offered him a 4-year, $72 million contract, which was the most they could offer, and he went to OKC to expand his game and to get a little bit more money, which you can't hate him for that. But the Knicks, they have a team right now that has a lot of work to do. Cat and Brunson are below average, even terrible defenders. And then, of course, the bench isn't that deep. Sure, Lander, Shamit, DeLon Wright, I mean, they are pending free agents, but it's not like we had the deepest bench in the world. I mean, we had a serviceable bench, but I think that's going to be the key as well, is that the starting lineup looks great, but you want to have a bench that can come in and make a bigger impact, so that's going to be something to monitor. But for Jason Kidd, he is currently on the Mavericks. There's no doubt about it. He went to the finals just a year ago. He signed an extension that was actually the offseason that they went to the finals, but that was with Luka Doncic. Now they have a 32-year-old Anthony Davis, a 33-year-old Kyrie Irving, who's in the midst of recovering from a season-ending torn ACL, and they are going to get Cooper Flagg with a #1 overall pick. But who's to say that the Mavs aren't just going to go a different direction with the way that they build this team? I don't think they'll fire Kidd. I mean, extend him, go to finals last season. They still made the plan. I don't think they're going to fire Kidd. But I think the Knicks, I mean, if they do end up letting him go, the Knicks certainly are going to jump on that and bring in Jason Kidd. I think he'd actually be the perfect coach here. But, I mean, again, Jason Kidd is already with the Mavs. And then Ime Udoka is with the Houston Rockets. He's on the thumbnail, so I'll talk a little bit about Ime not too long because, like, there's no chance the Knicks are getting him. I mean, Ime, of course, was let go by the Celtics. I mean, we're talking about he was in the finals, and he comes to the Rockets, and immediately what happens? He gets them all the way up to the number. Well, first they made the play-in. Actually, no, they didn't. They were 500 and missed the play-in. And then the next season after that, they were the 2 seed in the West. Their defense was elite. And despite Jalen Green, supposed to be their top scoring option, having like 6-7 points in an elimination game 7 game, despite the struggles from Green, they still went 7 with a tough Warriors team that was on a 65-win pace with Jimmy Butler. So I think Ime would literally be the perfect coach. If Ime Udoka was available, I mean, the Knicks would be striking gold. And you could argue that the Knicks should have brought in Ime when he was available and just let go of Tibbs then. Now they're going to kind of suffer because you let go of Tibbs, but do you even get a better coach than Tibbs? Jason Kidd and Ime, I think, would be better, but they're not available. They're employed. So now you're in a situation to where you're going to have to bring in an assistant. I almost feel like nobody really knows, in the sense that it's going to be someone nobody expects. Right now, Johnny Bryant seems to be the obvious choice. Of course, Michael Malone's available. Potentially, we also could see Jason Kidd. We're going to get into all 3 of those guys. Ime Udoka's been thrown around. But at the end of the day, I mean, who knows? The Knicks, they fired their head coach and Tom Thibodeau after having their best season in 25 years. And although it seems crazy on the outside, if you were watching the games, if you're a Knicks fan, you'll realize that, well, Tibbs didn't do a good job against the Pacers. He was just flat out outcoached, and it cost the Knicks a chance to go to the finals. They had home court. They had a 17-point fourth quarter lead. I mean, how come Tibbs was going to the bench talking about like 90 plus percent into the season? It's inexcusable. And of course, going to Mitchell Robinson in the starting lineup over Josh Hart, and then not going to the bench until the Eastern Conference Finals. The Knicks had played 13 more games than the Pacers just due to how much wear and tear was on their body in the regular season and playoffs. So they were a more tired team. They didn't have as fresh of legs.